Hello, and welcome to Tech Latest from Nikkei Asia, where we bring you the freshest updates from the technology sector in Asia. From Nikkei Asia's Tokyo headquarters, I'm your host, Katey Creel. This week, we're joined by Kim Jaewon in Seoul, talking to us about Samsung and its challenges in the chip sector. Welcome to the show, Jaewon.
Thank you for having me.
So, there's been a lot going on around Samsung recently. Personnel reshuffle, a share buyback plan, fresh legal headaches for its chairman. Can you give us just a brief overview of some of Samsung's big ups and downs this year?
Yes, Samsung started this year with a big labor strike, as thousands of its workers rallied for better working conditions. Employees demanded bigger salaries and a safer working environment, saying they are not dispensable components of the company.
That's right. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. It was big news early this year. It was one of the first strikes that Samsung had to face, right?
Yes, right. I never seen such a big strike before. And then the AI boom came to the semiconductor industry, but Samsung failed to supply advanced AI memory chips called HBM to NVIDIA, losing its long-time leadership in the market. Samsung's local rival SK Hynix took the initiative, supplying most of the HBM chips NVIDIA needs. It should be painful for Samsung to see it was surpassed by SK Hynix in the race.
I can imagine. Samsung and SK Hynix have been rivals for quite a while. But Samsung has generally been seen as having the upper hand. What changed with HBM? Why was SK Hynix able to pull ahead?
At the heart of the success of SK Hynix HBM business is a new packaging method called MR-MOF. The technology of injecting and hardening liquid material between layers of DRAM chips helps improve heat dissipation. But Samsung did not pay much attention to the technology because its market share was small in the past. Samsung admitted its mistake and now is gearing up for HBM development, but it struggles to develop technology for stable productions.
I see. How has Samsung tried to address that situation?
Samsung took actions to change the situation. In May, Jung Jae-hyun, head of the semiconductor division, resigned for taking responsibility for the failure in the HBM sector. Samsung called an old boy named Jeon Young-hyun to replace him, but so far he could not show any achievements. Recently, Samsung replaced chiefs of memory and foundry business units in its year-end reshuffle, but investors were not impressed with the decision, pulling down its stock by more than 3% on the day.
I remember that. The market itself was pretty flat, but it was a noticeable drop by Samsung.
Right.
Can you tell us a little more about the new chiefs?
Yes. In fact, the memory chip sector, including HBM, was put under direct control of CEO John. He's a 64-year-old lifelong engineer who started his career at LG Semiconductor before moving to Samsung in 2000. Since then, he has been in key posts, including head of memory business and Samsung SDI CEO. He's known for working hard, but some industry sources say he is too strict. And President Han Jun-man was named to lead the foundry business unit, which designs and produces tailored chips for outside customers. Han led the company's semiconductor business in the US, having a strong network with global customers. Samsung expects him to attract more customers in a tough competition with market leader TSMC.
That's really interesting. And it sounds like they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. And moreover, there's one more cloud hanging over Samsung, isn't there?
Yes, its chairman Lee Jae-yong, the third generation of the conglomerate's founder Lee family, has been in legal trouble for years. The latest one came recently as prosecutors demanded a 5-year jail sentence for Lee over his alleged stock manipulation and accounting fraud in 2015. The Seoul Appeals Court's ruling is expected to come in February.
That's a lot for Samsung to handle.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should be looking at for Samsung in 2025? Any big challenges or maybe opportunities?
Another thing is different from the US, I think, from the incoming Trump administration.
Right.
as you know, under the Biden administration, Samsung, invest a lot in U.S., especially in Texas, and then they agreed, kind of tentative agreement with the U.S. government to get huge amount of subsidies for the investment. But Trump, says he's not going to pay that money to Samsung. So we will see. It's a really big risk for Samsung. Yes.
Yeah, it's a big question for, I think, all of the chip players is how much the U.S. is going to follow through on its CHIP Act's commitments and other support. Thanks for joining us, Jaewon. That was a really good look at all the challenges and perhaps opportunities in the coming year that Samsung will be facing.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's all for this week's episode. For more of Nikkei Asia's tech coverage, visit asia.nikkei.com. You can also subscribe to our weekly Tech Asia newsletter, which will be delivered to your inbox every Thursday. Thanks again for listening, and check back with us next week for more updates on the tech trends that matter.